this is Rob Bell. I grew up listening to him with his Numa videos. I've read Velvet Elvis and a couple other of his books that are notable. And then most recently, Where'd You Park Your Spaceship, which is this epic tale. And just, it was so good. I caught myself dreaming of where Heem is going outside of the book, just like so enveloped in this world, in these worlds. I was just like, oh my gosh. I could not stop sleeping. One night I had to take melatonin just to calm the brain. Okay, I closed the book. I need to get some sleep now. So this is Rob Bell, author of Where'd You Park Your Spaceship?
I mean, to have somebody say that they needed to take melatonin to calm themselves after reading a book you wrote as an author, I don't know if it gets better than that. Where else?
I mean, I could have done some more, but melatonin is where I landed.
Right. Oh, that is the best. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you tell me. We start with background?
Yeah, we'll start with who you are, because I'm sure there are people listening that don't know who you are. A little bit about your background, your story, whatever story you want to tell of Rob.
Join the club on that one. Don't know who you are.
Who's Rob today?
You know, I remember when I was a kid, there was like going to school and you're supposed to get good grades and there was sports and there was all that. But I remember in the midst of all that, like, what is this? Like humans, like this experience we're having. Why are people the way they are? Why is this world that I was born into is arranged a particular way? And it has like values that like, and then you interact with somebody else or even somebody from a different family. And I remember one of my best friends lived just like in the same neighborhood, and his parents had separated, and he and his brother lived with his mom, and then his dad lived across the street with his partner, who was a man. And I just remember at the time, this was like 1983, being like, oh, that's like a different arrangement. Like on like lots of levels. So it's like there's these moments when you're young and you're like, oh, the thing that I've been conditioned, programmed, taught about, like this arrangement is somehow ultimate. Like this arrangement is rooted in stuff that really isn't up for discussion. Is actually just somebody's interpretation.
Yeah.
That so much of what is, well, this is just how it is. Even this word, well, that's not how the world works, or you know, you need to live in reality, is actually also just human construction.
Yeah.
Even the nature of what is reality is as much perception, understanding, and perspective as it is what everybody has agreed upon is reality. So I remember as a kid, there's those moments like, what? What? And then you're also just a kid trying to figure out, like, you just want better skin and you want people to think you're cool.
Yeah,
but I can trace in some ways the search or the exploration or the sort of the evolution and the path. I get like, you can almost like trace it all the way back. Then I was in college and I was in a band and I was the singer, and I'd never been a singer, but somehow like putting words to my experience. And then it was like, at those days, it was called alternative music, which meant like a mosh pit, and which meant like, it was like a communal happening, a show. And it was like for the first time, I felt like oh, I'm home in some way, creating something and sharing it with people that was rooted in the experience I was having. It was like this raw creation that, like, almost for the first time ever, life made sense at some level. And then, of course, at the end of college, the band broke up, like they do, because everybody had to get jobs. And I, because the tradition I came from, we went to church. If you were interested in the big things, well, you went to seminary and you studied God, spirit. There were these
Yeah.
very specific words. So I went and did that, and then I went and got a job in a church. In many ways, because there was like every tradition, every lineage has like, this is how you do that. And then I got into the church and was like, I'd rather do it some other way, but I hadn't seen anybody do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So then we started a church. I'm gonna try to do this in 2 minutes or less. And at every step, there was a conventional wisdom about how it's done. And then there was like almost like an itch or an angst or like a deep something in the center of me that was like, hey, we could do this a different way. And listening to that always had a level of panic to it. It always had a level of fear, like, well, if I try it this way, I haven't seen anybody do this way. It really could not work. It might really fail.
Yeah.
So in some ways, it's been an endless succession of, and then we started making films, and I started writing books, and I started going on like touring like clubs and theaters, and then started writing plays and novels. And in the past year, it's been plays, novels, painting. I do this here in Ojai where people come and sit with me for 2 days. So in some ways, it's been an endless series of leaving something and stepping into the next thing. And in some level, it's been just a continuation of the same thing over and over, just bigger, wider, more expansive, more joy, more freedom. How's that for 3 minutes or less?
That's good. That's solid. I'm glad we're having fun with it. I was thinking about because I read Where'd You Park Your Spaceship? And then just in terms of our inquiry and getting this conversation set up, you're like, I would love to talk about that and the book because they kind of coincide with each other. And then I just started looking at Where'd You Park Your Spaceship through a lens of what does he mean? What is more than and then I started reading into the book a little bit more. It's like, is this Rob? Is this Rob? Like, is Heem Rob? Is Sir Pong Rob? Who is Rob in the book? But I remember the first aha moment in the book was when Sir Pong has Heem and his classmates lying on the floor, and then he asks which up is the true up, the up that you're looking at now, or the one on the opposite side of the planet that is also up. And it's just like that just blew my mind because I never stopped to really think of it. And I'm like, yeah. So in terms of within the sphere of religion and God and perspectives of what traditions is which way is the correct way if two parties can simultaneously say, no, this is up, this is the true up. And so I just want to hear how you unpack that and what led you to write even in that small quick little snippet of the book.
Well, first thing I love is when the main character is telling you about growing up, and he's telling about these incredible teachers that he had.
Yeah.
And even his dad was like, you realize that the education didn't used to be like this. It's like, what is education to you? And he's like, going to school is like the greatest thing ever. It's like fascinating and dangerous. And the dad's like, yeah, that's new. So I just loved even describing going to school is the most exciting thing ever. So part of the joy of creating a world is you can just describe the world very straightforward. And the reader, and that just creates the possibility that the reader is like, wait, why isn't our world organized like that?
Yeah.
We could do that. So
we could.
Part of that is like the joy of the creation of it. And then I loved the idea that I loved having these young boys being taught these fairly sophisticated lessons about consciousness and perception. And Sir Pong going, which up is up. It's like he's just poking the mind that tends to be like, okay, just tell me how it is. And he's like, well, depends on where you're at. And And even a couple times when Heen is like going, I think I got it. Like he's even going, but I think there's a bunch there. I probably didn't. I probably even missed a bunch of what was being said. And even the narration of, I know this is really profound. I just am only grasping a little bit of it. To me, just was like how it often feels when you're hearing something going, something within me is having a profound sense of resonance with the truth of it, but I know I'm only getting 27%.
Yeah.
Like true learning, actually, it always has like a deep sort of humility to it. Like, yeah, you know, you're getting this little bit, but you know nothing. That's fine. Not knowing is your friend as much as knowing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that it's just a few teachers are mentioned, and whether that's left to interpretation of maybe there are more teachers he had, maybe there aren't. It's just a picture of even growing up here. It's like as a kid, we can then remember certain people in our lives that have, you know, taught us, whether it's a youth pastor, a mentor, a teacher, a specific teacher at school, but there are only these few people that highlight and stand out. And then I love how you set up this world where the education is like boiled down, 13 kids per class, and really specific. And it just really boils down to how much we also remember in our day-to-day lives and looking back as well. I thought that was a really cool picture.
Yeah, because memory is inherently selective.
Yeah.
So like you can remember when you were 7, you can remember the taste, the sound, the smell. Like there's some moment from when you were 11 that is crystal clear, and then there are like several years in my 20s that I barely remember anything. So memory is actually quite bendy and flexible. Very strange how all that works.
Yeah, and I know because my son is a little neurodivergent, and so we're learning about how his brain works and remembers memories. And he'll just bring up like the most random thing. We're like, "Whoa, we weren't even there. Like that was 2 years ago." But learning more about how his neurodivergency works, it's this to him. That was just yesterday, and so he's bringing it up again. So memory is so interesting, and it's so And then like going on about, is this truth the right truth, and understanding other people's perspectives might hold that. It was brought up again when Skyvy was telling Heen about, because they were like, we're building this new circle and all these people keep coming and they keep asking me questions and telling me things about my life, and he's just so fed up with,
he's like, I got a job to do.
I got a job to do. And then she brings up the birds and how do the birds know where they're going? It's like there's no leader. They all just instinctively know, collective as birds, we're going to go north, we're going west, you know?
Yes.
And just like you have to listen to people and have conversations. And this is all data, is basically what she was saying. This is how we progress as a society, as we later learn on in the book. They're like taking in the series 5 and taking in all the data, and that's how we progress, which then ultimately turns out to be, hey, they're arranging this to be a certain way, but
might have an underbelly. It might have a dark side. Who knows?
It's beautiful, and then until all of a sudden you're like,
turns out it's humans. Turns out it's humans after all.
yeah. And so where do you draw that inspiration from your own story and your own upbringing and relationship with living to pen this down into such an illustrative novel?
Well, the really interesting thing about telling a story is, like, if you see a movie and it's clear what the point of the movie is right away and it's kind of obvious, you roll your eyes. We say it's like, oh, it's so heavy-handed. It's so like on the nose. And we sort of like, oh, please. Like that's like very unsophisticated filmmaking. I guess we're supposed to be nice to people who aren't like us. Okay, I got that in the first 5 minutes. So a story, if you can suss out the point of a story too obviously or early, it's actually not a good story. The power of a good story is it pulls you into the story, and you are 100% free the entire time to have whatever experience you have. So what was super fascinating to me I mean, like riveting to me was in telling the story, anything that was like, oh, this is my point here. Like it would just immediately, it's like the faucet would get turned off, or even this is what I want people to get, or even trying to, oh, this character is some person that I know. Even that, it's almost like breaks the spell, and it was like I couldn't even touch. That didn't really happen just simply because it's so foreign. The only way for me it works is to build this world and tell this story that I'm hearing for the first time and just be caught up in it. And almost like write 100 pages and then read back through it and be like, oh, interesting stuff going on there. So like when you asked about when Sir Pong takes them out in the field and has them lay on the ground and talks about I don't like when I'm telling that story, it just sounds like the most interesting thing to happen next in the story. I don't none of that. It's like almost like a surrender of the need to control how you, Nick, the reader, you're gonna see, which is actually why doing these interviews about the book is so absolutely fascinating to me, is I get to find out what you saw. It's like you and I both read the same book. I just happened to a step before that have written it. And there's something very mysterious and life-giving about that, because for years I was like a spiritual teacher, so that's a very different thing. That's all about explaining, and explaining is a very specific kind of energy. Like, here's what I'm saying, here's another way you could say it, here's an example, here's an illustration, here's a third way you could see it, here's a way you could apply it, here's what it could mean, here's another way to say it. It's all like, do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? And a story is like, I don't know what it means. I don't know what you're supposed to get. There's nothing to get. So it's like a completely different way of moving in the world for me.
Yeah. And I can imagine if I go back and read it again and again, I'm going to pick up on different pieces. Because like you said, it's just like it happens so quick in the story, then boom, you're on to the next thing. And so, especially you're like me and I'm not actually reading, I'm actually listening to you narrate it to the audiobook. And so that even just brings another level where I'm like, okay, well, what did I hear this time? What was I attuned to? And it's like you said, rather than just saying as a spiritual teacher, you're like, here's explaining it, boom, boom, boom. It's
gotta
more
make sure everybody knows what I just said. And this one's like, I don't know what I said. You tell me what you think. And it's interesting, people who listen to the audiobook are also like, how are all these names even spelled?
Oh, yeah. Exactly. And then you get to the end, and then it's like there's a story where they're at the bowl and they're eating dinner, and it's like, oh, there's a Carl and a Gretchen, and I was like, huh, where did that come out of? Like, who's Carl and Gretchen?
Right. Good. Just completely random. Just like almost like I wanted it to feel all of a sudden like we're at Applebee's.
Yeah,
it's like a Friday night at Applebee's.
And then I was also thinking of like, okay, they're on all these worlds, but all the plants are the same, produce is the same, some of the animals are the same. It's like, Dill Tut has a fox and like a wolf and like all these dogs. It's like, huh, where are these animals? Aren't we on a different planet? And so I started asking myself those questions. Some little nuances. Like, oh. Huh. And then I got wrapped up in my own head when it was Heen was at giving his speech after he saved lions at school, and his first words, he says piddle piddle piddle, and I was like, is Heen Dill Tut? This was what went through my mind. I was like, is this turning into some psychological thriller? And like now it's like, oh, he's Dill Tut this whole time. That went through my mind for a little bit as I progressed.
Like Fight Club or something, where there's
like a Fight Club.
What you thought was two people was one. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
You're the first. I have talked to a fair number of people about this book, and no one. You're the first. You're the first to have that question. I love it.
Because it's like he's getting under his skin and he doesn't know how. And I'm like, well, I know how to get under my own skin. So maybe it's like this other side of him. But then the story goes on. You're like, now that theory is out the window now.
That theory's out the window.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's, to me, what I've gotten from the book is this idea of the truth is never what you think it is. There's always some other truth. There's always some other story. There's always some other perspective to gain from just the people you're around. And I think that's what Heen finds on Furtis. The more he's like gets super in deeper with these people, he starts like talking to them about day-to-day life and understanding more than just like, hey, there's like five people walking dogs, or all these benches are everywhere. And but
and he keeps saying
what
like there are like conversations where he'll be like, he like steps in to like Ziga May and her relationship problems with Philippe, and he's like, and Bourne's, I like when Bourne's is like, has Philippe died yet? And Heen's like, no, I just saw him the other day. He's doing fine. And then he's like, wait, I observe these things. I don't ever get into them. He's like getting pulled into the life and the loves and the losses, and he's like a tractor beam. He's like caring, and he's like, I don't care. I don't get involved in this stuff. It's like very bewildering to him what's happening to him. Like he's all of a sudden he's got like a horse in this race. He's like, wait, what?
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what, as you said, you just let loose and you wrote this book with no real sense of like, I need to say this. But having written it out and having several conversations with other people about the book as well, what have you learned looking back on the story about yourself even?
Well, I discovered there's tremendous emotion in a number of the scenes. Like when he brings lines back and everybody's okay. And I would be writing the scene and I would have to stop because I was like really, really moved. And it was almost like I was like grief, sadness, loss, ache, desire, hope. It was like these very intense, full-bodied feelings that my mind didn't know what to do with. So the story, it was like a catharsis on a number of levels. Just like, it was a really powerful experience. And it's a larger arc of my life of moving from being stuck in my head to living much more in the center of my being, integrated in my body. And I've noticed how many people are talking about this now, like a whole generation of us. It's like, what was your score on the SAT? Because that gets you into a good college. Why? Because you can get good grades. Why? So you can get a good job. Why? So you can, like a head game. Like so-and-so is really smart. Why? Because they got a degree in what? Like that's what, like just a whole head, like a world that what it did with its pain was intellectualize things. Even like, what do you believe? What do you believe? Well, I believed it, like even just YouTube debates about essentially how is the furniture in your brain arranged? Well, how's it? I disagree. Well, mine's arranged differently, or it's a head game. And when it oftentimes, well, for lots and lots and lots of us, there's ungrieved grief. Can't get anywhere without getting to the pain. And whatever we're carrying around. So that's what I learned about myself. As I learned, I'm carrying all this around, and somehow this is this sort of sprawling intergalactic tale is strangely really personal. And then I started doing interviews in, I guess it was last August, and so many interviewers are like, "Hey, this is your most personal book," and I'd be like, "Wait." There's like a lot of books before this that were like This is what happened to me. This is what I think about this. This is how it
Yeah.
shaped me. And then I read a book about a bunch of other planets in the future.
Yeah.
And that's the book. They're like, yeah, you're really vulnerable in this book. And I'm
Mm.
like, what the, what?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's all just me, utterly fascinating to me.
Mm. Yeah, I couldn't. In the context of this podcast and the audience coming, I couldn't stop to think about at the end when it's found out that she wants to assassinate Delta, and they're down in the crater, and they're talking about, and he's like, "Is this a graining?" He almost knew, "Hey, this is my time. I knew it was going to come."
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking about the arrangements and the establishment and how it all needs to be fine tuned, and then within the context of like church, even of it needs to be a specific way. The tradition is this. We do this, as you said, because this is just how we've always done it. And this is how we keep progressing. This is how we keep the tradition, the faith, or whatever alive, is by holding these restraints. And Diltud wants to give away all this produce just because it seems like, just because it's out of love. He cares about it so much. He just
Yeah.
gives away all this stuff to people. And I just think that's so interesting. That is so profound of, he just wants to love people. And he knows that's a threat to the traditions, to the arrangement. And he's just
Yes.
he's ready to die with it because he believes in it so much. He's feared it, but he knows it's coming, and he wants to keep pushing forward regardless. And so I was thinking about it in that framework of
All right.
of within church, of there are these rules, and we're not supposed to love homosexuals, we're not supposed to affirm lives, whatever it is. It could be pro-choice, abortion rights, women's rights, racial reconciliation. And it's like, if it's too dirty and it's too messy and they can't control it, then it's frowned upon and you're going to get grained. And that's the framework I looked at it, at least in this instance of reading it. What are your thoughts on that theory?
Well, you think about, like, I was just learning that they have done extensive research in universities with ethics professors. And when ethics professors are surveyed, they overwhelmingly acknowledge that they don't live differently than anybody else. So an ethics professor is like, yeah, the stuff I teach doesn't really affect how I live. So you have like entire academic structures where you could get a very advanced degree, but that doesn't mean you actually know anything about how to do whatever that is in the world in any coherent way. Or you think about business and how many businesses are, well, you think about a CEO who there are investors. So CEO's job is that the investors get a return, and the next year the investors need to get a greater return. So the CEO has to figure out how to make more money next year, which is a completely different thing than, is what we do even good? Is working in this company even remotely meaningful or satisfying or enjoyable? So you have, or you think about, like, my dad worked for the government, and I grew up in my home. My father talked about being a public servant. It was like a noble thing of dignity and honor to be a public. He's like, I am a public servant. So even nowadays we have a word called politics, which very few people would be like, oh, you mean public service? It's like, no, I mean gross power, theater, corporate shill. So in many ways, many of the foundational institutions of our world have gotten to the point where they're actually in the way of the thing they were created to do. And so there are those people who are willing to forego the rewards, esteem, accomplishments, and accolades of whatever it is in order to make a new world. And those people will go through the standard. It'll be terrifying at first. They'll look around wondering why everybody isn't doing this. They'll take a few tentative steps. A couple people may see what they're doing and help. It may be, yeah. So I would just say, in the work I do here with people who are doing new things, you are naming something that's in the air right now in a huge generational, historic sort of way. Is these massive, we now know that this economic structure puts more money in the hands of fewer people. Like, we just know it didn't trickle down. We know this now.
Yeah.
So that means a giant rethinking. So all the people I'm sure you interact with who are like, what is happening? I feel like it should, some of it should just be burned to the ground. Yeah. Even literally, you have historians who have outlined there are 7 stages to a civilization. And across human history, this pattern of 7 stages is as solid as it gets. And America fits to a T the 7th stage, which is what happens when a civilization ends before a new one begins. Like, this thing everybody's feeling is actually real. It's actually real.
Yeah.
We happen to be alive at this time. So you can like find that terrifying and destabilizing, or you can go, what a time to be alive. Man, wow.
Yeah. I can either succumb to the failure of society, or I can, as you say, wow, what a time to be alive. I get to be a part of this.
Yeah, to every one of your listeners, I would just ask them like, who are frustrated, angsty, angry, shaking their fists, hurt, broken, etc. All part of being human. But I would just say, so what do you want to make? What do you want to be a part of? And I've never heard anybody who's upset with this thing and why did this thing fail me and how come I had to leave this thing. I've never ever, when somebody has said something like that, asked them, so what do you want to be a part of? I've never had somebody not be able to answer. And when they do describe what they want to be a part of, I've never heard someone describe something that they didn't have everything they need right now to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Like, well, I want a community, a tribe, a gang, a group. Okay. Where would you meet? I don't know, my living room. Okay. What would you do? Oh, it seems like a good meal, a big table. We tell stories. There might be good drinks. Maybe we each bring a song and we play the song and tell why that song means something to us. And then, or we each bring a picture from when we were a kid and we would each see the picture of that person and we would find out a bit more about who they are. Like, we'd go help out this thing. We'd go create, like, they all just describe some gathering where there's something loose structure holding them together, and yet there's also just a group of people taking care of each other. Everybody describes the same thing pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, interesting. You can do that. That'd cost you money.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's so prevalent. I can definitely resonate with that, even on my own level. And yeah, you're right. People that I do talk to are they're sad at the loss of community more than they're sad that someone has hurt them. You know, they want that connection with other people that are like-minded still.
Yeah.
And I spoke to someone recently and he was like, I don't hate church. I actually love the church. I love that a group of people can do amazing things, but it's that human factor that keeps getting in the way. And that's so true in other environments, even outside of church, like at school or on campus somewhere at work, you know, your neighborhood even. There's so much opportunity that something beautiful can flourish. It's just the humans get in the way and they muck it up.
Well, we only have humans to work with. So there's a direct relationship between grief and imagination. And generally, somebody is grieving something. And generally, when we open ourselves to the grief and let it flow through us, that's where all the ideas. Oh, well, let's try this then. Okay.
Yeah. Let's be open. Let's have that open dialogue. Let's, as Sky V tells Teen, we need to talk to these people because they're going to tell us how how it should work, how the circle should be set up.
Right. I love that scene where she's like, wait, what do you think your job is? Like, we're making a thing here. It seems like these people are going to help us make it without even realizing it. And he just blows his mind. He's like, what?
Yeah. He's like, I thought it was just us. I thought,
we're all alone
it's our
here.
job to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, no, the people, that's who we're serving. That's like the public servant. Like, that's who we serve before staking, whatever, before whatever color yarn it needs to be. We need to sit down with them and listen to them. Yeah, it's such a beautiful book. I loved it. And so you said you're working on part 2. What does that look like?
Did I say that?
Is it this? I think you did. Or no, you didn't. Just scratch that. You said you're writing another book.
Of course. I
already put in my mind that it's part 2.
Of course, book 2 and book 3 and book 4, and of course, Bobby Freelance needs to write a book, and of course, of course, we'll have to build out this. There's lots of things that are going to happen.
All right. We'll just say off the record, we don't know for sure, but you are writing another book, so that's exciting.
I do love the writing. Yes, this story and all these people and characters and where they've been and where they're going has given me a vision for what I want to do. So I am quite grateful that it appeared in my life like this.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everyone else. It is super personal, deeply personal, and it's amazing that it took someone else telling you, "Hey, this is really personal."
For you to realize I was like, "Why is this so personal? I don't understand." And people are like, "This is really personal." I'm like, okay. Once again, I'm just no idea how things work.
Yeah. I think it's part of that like world building. It's not you trying to explain something. It's just, this is something only Rob Bell could have thought of. This is something only you could have thought of, your creative expression through the lens of which you have lived. We have Voyager Parker spaceship.
That's funny. That's funny. I'll take it.
There you go. To help round out the conversation, you did give some advice on community building. And I just always ask someone,
where was that?
You're not.
Just now?
You said just now, yeah. A couple minutes ago, you mentioned you have what you need to build your community, and along those lines. And but I always ask, what is one piece of advice that you would give a younger Rob Bell or a younger yourself? I don't ask everybody what advice they'd give a younger Rob Bell, but you specifically.
I wouldn't give my younger self advice. I would say to my younger self, the only thing to do here is be Rob Bell, right? And the only question to ask is, how would Rob Bell do it? And I would probably be able to spot on the earlier me a bunch of voices on my shoulder that were almost like jamming the antenna. All the shoulds and supposed tos and all the fears that I was going to be lonely and isolated and rejected if I was true to myself. I would probably, as opposed to advice, just be like, you're going to be fine. Okay? Just listen, get real still. Stop trying to game it out with your mind and so you can protect yourself and take off your armor. You're fine. But what is the next thing? What is it? You know what it is. Just do that. I would just remind earlier self, it's actually much, much, much simpler than anybody has made it. By anybody, we mean you. You earlier, Rob Bell.
Yeah. That's good. And then last question is, what do you want people to know about you? It could be anything.
Oh, I never... Man, oh man. I don't ever... I don't have any sense that anybody needs to know anything about me. I generally find asking people questions about them far more interesting. Like, who are you? How'd you get here? What are you doing? What's interesting to you? I just I find other people much more interesting than listening to myself talk.
I respect that. I respect it. I respect it. That's good. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing some insights and just even listening to my crazy theories on how Heen is still Tud, but not really.
Loved it. Here for it. Loved it.
Great. Thank you, Rob. And
my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Is there anything coming out soon that you know of that you could talk about, or where can people find you?
Yeah, new Robcast.
If they don't know where to find you.
New Robcast episode just went up. I have an art store of my paintings on my site, and a bunch of new paintings are now at robbell.com. And one of my plays is premiering next month at Mirror Box Theater in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So if you want to come see the world premiere of one of my plays, that'll be next month. And I do these things in Ojai here where people come and sit with me for 2 days. And people bring their question about their life, their project, their work. And then one by one, people sit across from you and you meet all these people from all over the world and you watch people getting clarity. And I just love it. So yeah, there's a couple things going on.
All right. Thank you, Rob.
Great. Great to see you. Appreciate it.